Oh, okay. So the question is, what is the mechanism to deliver the red pill? So the Apache module is sitting in the middle. It's like a mod proxy. Okay, is a modification or addition, whatever you want to call it, to mod proxy. So when you start the download, when the file, depending on the working mode, blah 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 blah, we verify basically. We start verifying what is being pulled down. And at that moment we say, okay, it's an executable, so we send ours instead of this one.
So how much disruption does that cause?
So far we haven't, the question is if there is any disruption for the target. So this is a good question. So far we haven't seen this, but we do expect some disruption, for instance, in the case that the download is big. And you have also to take into account that, for instance, if the file is a zipped archive, for instance, that could be a problem. There are self-extracting, sorry, not zip archive, but self-extracting archive. That could be a problem because they also have redundancy check for, so they are expecting a file of size X, and now I'm shipping a file of size A. So that could be a problem, yes. So there are some mechanisms that we have to put into force to be sure, or to work better, because otherwise in that case we just would have to let it go. Okay, I have this guy and then I'll come back to you.
There's a question about in terms of how you do it. Based on what you said, you download, you actually replace the file. Have you ever encountered something like the downloader actually infects what it downloads first and injects another downloader there? So if you do put your blue red pill there, you actually be the one downloading it now once it starts the process.
So the question is that if...
And how do you deal with that?
So the question is if that by having a double download, right?
Yeah, it's like a double,
yeah,
like
having a double download, what would the approach would...
because you can see this thing in the older malware that does it is probably, you could say like code red, I think. Some of it will infect some of the PE files, and the PE files actually becomes the downloader for other components. But this one is more like you do it in the downloader form.
So it wouldn't work in the sense that we would see that the actual downloader is Mr. X, let's say Internet Explorer. So because of the heuristics that we have right now, in this version we would fail. So we would say it's clean. To solve the create remote thread problem, we are thinking about basically, I mean, there are some ways you can fix, because if to do that thing, yeah, either you basically know or are able to analyze what's inside the memory of the process, for instance, but that's going to cost you a lot of time, so could be infeasible, and the result is not guaranteed. So that would be another way of circumventing this approach. Yes? Okay. Yeah. So I will just repeat the question and then let Chris. Yeah, I told you I'm senior. I don't do that stuff any longer. So the question is, how does it work when we append the red pill at the end of the file that is actually downloaded?
So in short, it's done through PE injection. I don't know if you know this. If I have to explain it, then I guess I have to use this board, if that's okay. Well, I can do it easily right here. If you come a bit closer, you can see it.
Remember that the guy is an engineer, so. It was a good command. I'm not an engineer. I'm a computer scientist. That's the problem.
So if you have the divider of the angle, I guess you put PE. Somewhere in the, yeah. Somewhere in the PE, this original entry point is listed. And what we do is we, in the PE, replace the original entry point with our entry point. Here we have kind of, this is not working. So our loader stub is here, which is written in assembly, is completely relocatable, so it doesn't depend on where it is. Then we point the entry point here to our entry point, so let's say new entry point. And here we append our DLL.
So that's why, for instance, you basically broke totally the CRC.
Yeah. So we appended DLL because we don't want to write our complete analysis in relocatable code. That would be very annoying. So just this loader stub is relocatable. What it does is takes this part. It knows exactly where it is, because here it's written start probe or something, and here's end probe. So between these offsets, it's taking this binary data, putting it in a file, and then basically calling load library, which will execute our probe DLL. And then when the malware analysis engine says, okay, this is clean, so resume execution, it's just going to execute that original entry point again.
So only if it's clean, you
Yeah.
go back to the.
Exactly.
It's like, you're like much like a virus.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, we are a virus.
But you have to fight them. It's fight fire with fire, right?
Exactly.
There's another way to circumvent it. Like the downloader knows the heuristic places where the entry point normally lies. Because that's, if you are normally, let's say, normal P file, you normally lie about 1,000 hex after the section, first section. Right? So you can always, you know, after you download, replace it back and then launch. So you already
That's true. But actually, it's not always 1,000 behind the.
No, if you use like, if you compile it using Visual Studio, normally that's the range. You get that
Yeah.
as an entry point.
Yeah, but then you can still say that we fall back by using the. We just ship the red pill.
Yeah.
And then the red pill will take care of taking again the original file in case it's clean and do its job. So, yeah.
Kind of.
In a
So
gray
this is-
area, but we
Yeah.
can still make it.
But this is basically only handy if the spore has some kind of relation with the downloaded egg. So it's maybe sharing a pipe or something. Then in this case, this relationship is still maintained. If we would send our own standalone exe, there would be no relationship anymore. So that's why we also opted for this solution in some cases.
In my opinion, we would really like to see is that, okay, we gave away the idea, and somebody comes and say, well, here is the way to make it work really in the real world. It would be nice. So that's why we hope that we have feedback on the way it works, because we would like to have more ideas to include more counter techniques.
Yeah, especially also on the remote DLL injection. If you have any ideas how to detect that post-mortem, then please talk to us.
I'm sorry.
No.
Because I'm more familiar with P as well. How many times in this type of mode that failure points in terms of it attaching itself to the code? Because like sometimes most P's are a little bit compacted. So when you do add the code, it kind of destroys all the file alignment and the section alignment. But when you execute, actually it goes haywire.
But we are at the end, so we're basically actually appending. So
Yeah, but you still need to rearrange all the, for example, you attach yourself in the resource section, right? Then you have to rearrange the resource section. And then if you add an even or add number of bytes there, you have to rearrange the file alignment or the section alignment. If you don't do that, you're going to go screw up. When you jump in, actually, Windows will detect that this is an executable and probably fail.
I think you should see our code and how we add this code section.
Okay.
Because I don't think we have to do any realignment, or
You
at least
don't-
I didn't do it and it still works. So
Okay, so you probably
Maybe we were lucky. Maybe we just got lucky.
Yeah, because some packers some of the files will, let's say, the alignments are 100 only.
yeah.
And if you extend it a little bit more, the line becomes should be, a valid alignment should be 1,000. But if those things are not correct, then the code won't be loaded. Of course, it will constitute error message that says this is not valid.
I think maybe we never ran into this. So it's yeah. So I'm not saying it's not happening or you're wrong. Just yeah. Maybe we haven't seen it. Yes. So far with all the samples that we had, it always worked and.
But we will have the source online, so you can have a look how we do it and comment on it.
There was it was first.
In the cases where you see that it's trying to download a DLL, and you go ahead and replace, just put in your red pill as the DLL and don't go into it. At what point do you get execution there? When they load the library?
Yeah, exactly.
Just your DLL and every team just takes over.
Yes.
I can catch up.
Okay. So yeah, I think we can conclude because there are only some survivors left. So I hope you will enjoy the pool now. Now I hope I see you there. Thanks.